All right, y'all, let's get into a broad spectrum video here and get into Elon Musk at the border, RFK starting up the third party for that purple party, and different things going on there, and then Trump's family history or whatever, all right? This might be a two-parter or whatever. We'll see where we go and where the light takes us, all right? So we're going to start with Elon Musk at the border because this is kind of a quick one, and it's going to tie into the balance being at, or the weight being added to the balance, which is part of the crane. And that crane, the Ukraine, has just been taken off funding from America and all those other things. So all these things are kind of going together to cause the house of cards to fall and the crane to come dropping down, okay? Because basically the balance is there and they got a house of cards there and they're stacking the cards. And as they stack the cards, they have to put balances on it, but now everything's coming down and the house of cards needs to be rebuilt. And that's part of the temple and all those other things. So, Elon Musk down live at the border. All right. He went live down there. And then a couple days later, the cup pull, he's taking the drink and all those things, for that water. To people to grab onto and to live off of and those things. Anyways, a couple days later, he's shooting the sniper rifle, okay? And he's doing it sidearm, some wacky way to shoot it. Anyways, by Saturday night, that video went viral. And this is part of that Saturday Night Live. And then the next day, we see the Bloody Sunday being announced with the student loans and that such thing, because the student loans is going to be tied to the economy starting to its collapse. Okay, now everything's stretched out at its max. Inflation, gas, rent, mortgage, all these things. Okay, insurance has been going up for no reason, whatever kinds of things. Okay. So as all these things are being stacked up against everybody, that final pin in the cushion is being handed back. That was taken away from them. And as it's taken away from them, all that money was basically absorbed into other stuff. And now it's going to be given back to them and it's going to cause that boom. Okay. So this caused the banks and stuff to start their failures and whatever else is going to be coming. All right. And then we're going to see a play on gold soon. And all these things are expected because as the de-dollarization is happening all around the world and the people are joining BRICS or whatever, and the dollar's not going to be the world currency anymore, once all the dollars are just like handed back or whatever, that's when you see your mass inflation and the dollar's not worth anything. And that's when maybe they need to go back to gold to kind of balance it out. But it's going to be a steal because as they do that, it's going to be like back in the 20s or 30s or whenever they did it. They bought all the gold basically back. And then a few years later, they brought it back out in a different, for a higher price or whatever. But it's going to be bait and switch or whatever. But we're going from the ground to the prince of the power of the air, and we're regaining our heaven back in the air. So the old gold, the old money, all that shit's going away. And we're going to the digital currencies of the future, okay? Now, Bitcoin and all that, that's kind of like a bait and switch kind of thing, and that's going to be a robbery on the boomers, in a matter of speaking. And the old, that's part of the old to set up the new. All right. And I see that having like a big crash and all those things, and that will make the other digital currencies go up and whatever else. But that's just a side thing. So after he went live, Saturday Night Live event went down for him for the sniper rifle, and then we see the Bloody Sunday afterwards. Okay. So we could see that automatic event or that sniper event. Soon, it could be just a random sniper shooting people, all right? It could be just some automatic wacko, just because he's doing the wacky sidearm. Anyways, just be some dude randomly shooting everybody with, like, far away, or like they did in Vegas or whatever. And that's all those things are just kind of a test with, they might have in, like, 1 or 2 real bullets mixed in with, like, 60 blanks or whatever, to where you might hit like 1 or 2 people. But anybody knows that when this fully automatic event comes, okay, that kind of thing, when you're in fire, you need to stop, drop, and roll. You do not run, okay? You stop, drop, and roll, because they're shooting up. They're spraying. If you're getting sprayed, you want to be under the spray, okay? It's where you got to operate under the law in one way. Either way, the meat's almost done, and they need to spray shit. So I would expect that we could see those types of things, or at the school, or all those bomb threats that we've been taught up and brought up with. All right, all that shit's coming. Okay, we're built on those days of these things coming, of these crazy times. So that's that type of symbolic live border event, and we might get that gun event at the schools or at the churches and whatever, because there's going to be judgment against the churches, and the churches, there's going to be like stuff going on there, and the people will have to be in delusion to keep going back. I mean, you have to be in delusion now. That's why it's going live. It's live now. There's no like turning back. That's where it's all improv. All right, so if these people make a mistake, they just got to go with it. Or if somebody figures it out, they got to go with it. We are into that live game. And as a live game, you are either playing the game or you are the game, which means you are the beast that's being hunted. Okay? It's that simple. It's your choice to race or to not race. So, as this balance with the student loans and such is being put onto the balance or the scale or whatever, that's tied to the Ukraine and the UK and the crane. The U is at 21 and the K is the over and the 11 for the L even or whatever. But the Ukraine, that's time that British Empire that basically runs America in a matter of speaking. That's why you have Harry and Meghan over here now, because the reins and everything's about to be kind of shifted. And Charles is kind of that, that side dude that can be sniped off too, to bring in that Harry and William thing, because I think that Harry knows something or believes something or whatever about Diana and the death or whatever, and Charles is linked to that or whatever, and he's going to get his retaliation, those types of things. That we could see that kind of thing. And so RFK with that purple party, this is the blue and the red coming together. The election cycle, I could see like different stars coming and running for presidency. I've mentioned The Rock before. Oprah, she's starting to show signs in California with Gavin Newsom or whatever. She could be tied to this. And then she could be tied to that straight hand with the knot in it. And that would be tied to the Gayle King and Studman, where he's got the 2 women, and she lives privately, but it's going to come out that it's like some weird type of menage a trois or some kind of thing going on, all right? And that's the men-na-trois, the tri-o for the tri-crown, for the tri-o show, and those types of things, okay? That's also going to help that divide. You're going to have the electronic app that's going to give Biden and Kamala that grounds for the Antichrist figure there. And then you're going to see the election cycle with the 2 women coming together, more than likely. The vice presidents that are loved so well in the presidential elections, or presidents are not loved so well, they're going to come together and steal that kind of thing in the last 6 months or so. And then that's going to cause DeSantis and all the MAGA people to raise up their guns and their magazines and just go shoot the shit out of people. Out of the hardness of their own hearts, because they don't understand the times. and they're being tested, and they're believing this world stage, and they're just being, it's their choice to go to the slaughter, and it's their choice to gather as the armies to get their trick and treatments for that booster that's coming. And we can also see that quake coming. In a matter of speaking, with China and that bio warfare, and how the things are going to be reversed against there, and how Trump was kind of being coerced by the Fauci and the people where the old kind of thing was controlling things, and Trump, this outsider, comes in, and he's not listening sometimes, he is listening sometimes, he's thinking about it himself or whatever, right? And then Fauci, he's the one that's being brought in or being linked to whatever. He's bringing that in to whatever. And then they have to steal the election. So the false prophet can have you come in and worship his name and number. And then the false prophet gives you the mark, which is the trick and treatment, and all those things, folks. Okay. So as this divide is coming, the bowels is connected to the food and the drink. That is connected to the transformation of the nation right now, for that budding that's developing on the fig tree, which is part of that Croptober that's coming. They're going for those dried figs for the education that's coming, and the reverse 45, because he's coming back. He's going to steal that ray on that day for that dawn. All right. So the Croptober is tied to the cannabis harvest, and those things are tied to the bud. And then we see the federal legalization stuff being rescheduled or whatever. We can see this kind of being replayed in Oklahoma's cannabis market. That's the Crown Ober kind of thing market, but it basically caused the and it's also tied to the Chinese mafia and Russian mafia and all, like the invasion and the land and all that stuff. But it caused the price to just plummet. All right. And now they have like outdoor pounds going for 40, 50 bucks for extraction and stuff. And farms are just going out of business, and farms are opening up and all this kinds of stuff. So it's a great way to just do different things. But then after the price drops and gets to normal whatever, then the pharmaceutical industry can come in and take over the gardens and whatever, and they start growing food, cannabis, whatever they need to. All right. Because all this climate change and however things are working, we're going into, and I've talked about these garden systems before, but this is all part of that hanging garden of Babylon, and where we're not working the ground anymore, so we're not getting like dirty anymore or whatever. And this is where the gloves and lab coats, and that's like your angel wear going in there, and that's part of the heaven for the other people. Anyways, so as all these things are playing out, all this stuff is meant there to divide and cause delusion and blah, blah, blah. So the pharmaceutical industry will come in and take over the cannabis industry eventually, and then that's when you'll be taken into the pit of hell on the last bit of thing and all those types of things, because cannabis will be linked to healing this, that, and the other, or it's going to be linked to spreading this, that, and the other. All right. We'll see how they go with these. But either way, we're going to end the video here and get into some other stuff on the next one. All right.